Okay, everyone, we thank you very much for joining Channels Television for this live event that we're starting right now here from the Central Bank of Nigeria's headquarters in Abuja, Nigeria's capital. Now we'll be starting off this countdown to the Monetary Policy Committee decisions and those briefings that the Central Bank Governor, Mr. Godwin Emefiele, will be giving within the next hour. But just to open up the studios, we thank our viewers here in Nigeria and around the world for this very important day. And it comes, of course, we call the Monetary Policy Committee. So this will be very interesting. We want everyone to be part of this conversation, and we're getting started right now with our panel of analysts who are sitting at Channels Television Global Headquarters in Lagos. Let me introduce the three-man panel who are here and the fourth individual that will be joining pretty soon. Welcome you to the program, Buka Kyari, the chairman of the Nigeria Economic Summit Group, who is also the chief executive officer at the Central Securities Clearance System. Mr. Kyari, good afternoon. Thanks for coming, and we appreciate you on the program. Also in the studio right now, down there in Lagos, Mr. Olufemi Awoyemi, who is a finance expert and the chief executive officer of ProShare Nigeria.
Thank you.
And also on the panel, as you can see in the studio, BC Sander, who is a senior partner in charge of transaction advisory services at Ernst & Young, also in Lagos. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us on the program. Now let's get this conversation started, the first 10 minutes of this, before we take a break. Now let's start from you, Mr. Buka Kyari. You've listened to the July MPC decisions. It's been about 2 months since then. From the macroeconomic environment, what are your views in the economic data that we have on our hands before this meeting decision today that the central bank will make within the hour?
I think the posture that was taken in July, where the interest rates were increased, is more of a fear of liquidity in the banking system. And basically what you might think is that the central bank is taking a position of containing inflation and price stability rather than growth. Ordinarily, at that stage, where we have clearly gone into recession, one would expect some kind of alignment between the fiscal and the monetary policy. Therefore, the expectation is for the central bank to actually either stay or cut interest rates. Of course, there are other arguments for the raising of the interest rates at that time. Some fundamentally given reasons include attracting foreign portfolio investors into the market.
Thank you, Mr. Kyari. Let's get a bit of a sense of some of these data that we have on our hands that would form part of the considerations of this committee. BC Sander, thank you very much for coming through. Talk to us from an advisory, consulting, macroeconomic perspectives. We had inflation, we had the GDP second quarter. A few days ago, we had the capital importation data from the Statistics Office. How do you think the central bank will decide of this afternoon? Give us weigh in on this conversation.
I align myself with what Buka has said in terms of the expectation on interest regarding an economy that is in recession. How do we manage it out of that? But against all expectations, the Monetary Policy Committee decided, but interestingly, I think there were about three of them that, three of the members that actually asked that there should be interest cut. Now, going into, talking about the expectation while we wait for the next 30 minutes or so when the governor will come out, the statistics we have so far does not support that considerable or significant increase has been observed in the inflow of the foreign portfolio investors, nor in the foreign direct investment. Though the figures that we've seen a bit higher than the expectation for this part of the year, but it's not such a quantum increase consistent with the argument that was profiled by the committee in taking the decision to raise the interest rate. I do not also, maybe we'll talk about that later, I do not also think that such a conception of how to attract foreign investment or foreign currency into the economy is appropriate, nor is it a solution to the challenges that we are having now.
Mr. Sander, thank you very much for that part of your weighing in on this. But let's get a bit of a market and a finance analyst perspective to where we were, the road between July and September, where we are right now. We have just about 2 minutes. Mr. Olufemi Awuyemi of ProShare Nigeria, what do you think from a market perspective? You've seen the equities market, a bit of gentle volatility since July. You've seen yields on treasury bills and bonds hitting around 18% at the secondary window. Do you think we have the right situation from a market point of view? You've seen the currency as well. Talk to us for 1 minute about this before we take a quick break, then we'll return.
Okay. If you'd allow the problem to linger on for so long, you find out that you have very few options left when you tend to reach the road like we are. We have a conflicting situation on our hands. One of slowing growth and rising inflation. It's not an easy day for the CBN governor today, but whatever decision he takes, he must understand that he should deliver this today. He should deliver the right signals to domestic investors for them to understand and build confidence back in the whole economy. If you look at the current economic recession, interest rates needs to go down to boost output. Yet, if you take rising inflation and weak currency, you would have to move interest rate up. These are solid arguments on both sides. We're hopeful that CBN may generally keep status quo.
Okay, Olufemi Awuyemi of ProShare Nigeria, we thank you very much. BC Sander from Ernst & Young and Buka Kyari, the chairman of the Nigeria Economic Summit Group. We'll take a very quick break. We'll be back in 1 or 2 minutes. This conversation will continue, and we want you to please stand by in the studios. Joining us later on the program will be Dr. Abiodun Adedipe, who is an economist and a partner at B. Adedipe and Associates. We'll be back into you're watching this Channels Television live event from Channels Television, the headquarters of the Central Bank of Nigeria in Abuja. We'll be right back.